For today's Cyber CEO episode,
we have two cyberbackers, 𝗙ecie and 𝗙𝗲𝗄. The cyberbackers, they were very helpful, very useful, reliable, dependable, all the things you want. Very, very successful partnership that we have with our cyberbackers. We're very happy with everything that they bring to the team, everything that they do for us. They both have grown into very, very important roles on our team.
welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show. Stephen, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much for asking and for dropping by. I know you're very busy. Really appreciate you being here. Now, we're going to just talk about your Cyberbacker experience, virtual leverage, and things like that. So first off, I know this is your second time here, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So just wanted to know, were there any changes that have happened ever since the last time that we spoke to each other, Steph?
Yes, some slight changes that we've had. So we have two cyberbackers, 𝗙ecie and 𝗙𝗲𝗄. They started off with some kind of introductory roles, and they've kind of grown into take on more responsibility and kind of new avenues of work that they're doing for us on the team now.
So can you share with us, what were they previously doing? Now what they're doing with you and the team?
Absolutely. So initially, we were just looking for general admin help, help with our agents writing contracts, entering in information into our CRM database, making social media graphics, things like that, stuff that our agents really needed to offload their plate in order to have more time to, do their prospecting for new clients. And they've both grown into much larger roles on our team. We have 𝗙ecie managing our transactions now. So she will help our agents through the process of going under contracts and then helping them through all of the paperwork and compliance and all of that through the closing. So she's pretty integral to our transaction process. And 𝗙𝗲𝗄 now helps manage our listing. So she will help with inputting all the information into the MLS system. That's where we post all of our listing information for the public to see. So it's a super important role to, it's very detail oriented, and she helps interact with the clients. So our listing clients are people who are asking us questions and needing help or needing clarification and understanding. She's their contact person for that. So they both have grown into very, very important roles on our team.
Gosh, imagine just starting from general admin tasks, now handling transaction coordination, listing management as well. How long have you been working with both cyberbackers, by the way?
Yes, so we are actually just about at a year with our first cyberbacker, 𝗙ecie, and 𝗙𝗲𝗄 about 6 months. So we had 𝗙𝗲𝗄 start about 6 months after 𝗙ecie.
So a lot of exciting stuff. Imagine just the growth between your cyberbackers and your business, of course. Now, before we talk more about that, talk to me about virtual leverage. Who introduced you to the idea of virtual leverage anyway? And is this your first time to work with someone virtual?
For me, it is, yes. I know the team in the past had done some virtual leverage. I'm not too sure on the details on that. But as far as the introduction to it, we actually were made aware of Cyberbacker by a bunch of different people. A bunch of our managing partner, Jessica's friends, utilized Cyberbackers, and they said that they were very helpful, very useful, reliable, dependable, all the things you want. And then we were at 𝗙𝗲𝗋𝗶𝗹. I want to say it was family reunion or one of those. Yes. And you guys were at a booth, and we saw you there and said, you know what? I think maybe it's time that we give this a try. We're working pretty much virtually at this point anyway. We only recently just started going back to our local office to do, to meet clients here and there. But the majority of our appointments are still virtual. We do all of our team meetings virtually. So, why not? Why not utilize something that's going to help us grow our business at an even higher level?
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of virtual leverage. Again, it's not really, I think the pandemic really jump-started that. It's like, let you experience working from home virtually through Zoom, through web-based tools, things like that. Now, I think it's a norm now. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's become just part of my everyday life. It almost feels weird that at one point I went into the office every day from, morning to evening and spent all my time there.
And now, how often do you go to the office now?
Maybe a couple times a week for a few hours at a time.
There's really a huge difference now, right? Just a few years from the pandemic, of course. Now, talk to me more about your experience with Cyberbacker then. Have there been any challenges that you've had so far? Because again, not all partnerships are perfect, right? But there could be a few of them. But what challenges have you had working with Cyberbacker?
Happy to talk about that. So we, challenges is the roles that 𝗙𝗃 and 𝗕esse are both in are not simple roles. They're very complicated. It's hard. So their previous roles on the team was they would be able to follow a checklist and it would go perfectly every time, no matter what. Everything was by the book to a T. It would follow that and it would work out just fine. When you're dealing with live clients and transactions that have varying degrees of contingencies and different things written in, items crossed out on standardized forms and things that are only sent in email and not on actual contracts and maybe a phone conversation, there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of room for mistakes to be made. And that goes across the board. That's not just with leverage, that's with our agents. There's this very steep learning curve in our business in real estate. And you don't really get an opportunity to practice because in order to learn, you need to experience it. And to experience it, you need to be thrown in. And to be thrown in leaves you open to make mistakes that can affect someone's income or someone's sale. So it's a very, very steep learning curve. And, we've had the benefit of having a number of agents who are very experienced and have been able to help 𝗙𝗃 and 𝗕esse through the process, but it's not easy. It's very difficult. And I feel that some people get the notion that, you hire someone to do a job and they just know everything And that's just not the case. Real estate agents will take advantage of the fact that they know way more than they think they do just by the basics of the transaction process. And I found that myself as I was because I work with them both on making trainings and, bringing in additional content from what Cyberbacker does, because we do our transactions a little different. I think that's also another challenge is that every team, every agent, every area, they will manage their transactions and there's different legal compliance issues. There's a whole mess of different things that vary by team, by individual agent. And so I put together some team specific stuff for our team to help them. And I was realizing there's a lot more to this than I originally thought. In my mind, it's you go under contract and then you close. But there's so many different steps that happen along the way. And it's very challenging for people, especially if it's their first time in the business.
Especially if they're not in the real estate world specifically. Their experience is not in the real estate world, right? Now, you talked about training though. How do you train someone who's virtual anyway? Because Cyberbacker does provide the training, but of course, you still have to give them a few of the things that need to be done on your end, how you want things done specifically and legal stuff. So how do you do that with someone who's virtual?
Absolutely. So initially we had tried doing trainings like we did with someone who was here local, where we would just have little training sessions and it had varying amounts of efficiency, effectiveness. Depending on the content of the training, it would go either really well or it'd be kind of confusing to try to give someone applied information in kind of a training environment. And what we actually switched to was something that I find more effective across the board is just shadowing. So I would have 𝗙𝗃 or 𝗕esse just shadow me do something that's going to be a task that they're going to do in the future for maybe a week or two straight. And they would just sit, observe. If they had a question on something I did, they would, we'd be on, a video call like this, they'd raise their hand and be like, hey, why'd you do that? That's not how we learned to do it. Or that's actually different than what you told us to do. Why was it different this time? And that would be a moment for you to stop and explain it to them. And I found it to be very effective because these situations come up that I wouldn't even think of and it only would come up if it actually happened. And then I say, oh, yeah, I need to explain this to you because this is actually going to happen to you more often than you think. It's just not something that you learn in your trainings. So I find that shadowing is the most effective and an efficient way to train virtually, because you're able to just share your screen. So they can see everything that you're doing. You're able to show things and kind of click through them to actually type in what you're going to send, not just do an example or say, oh, I would put in the client's name here. I'm actually putting a client's name in, and I'm actually sending something for signatures, or I'm actually sending an email to a co-broke. Maybe I'm actually negotiating and they need to know what that looks like. So the shadowing has just been a huge tool for us when it comes to training.
Really, the shadowing part, and just jumping on a video call, just showing them how it's done and addressing questions right away. Then very hands-on. I think that doing that is already investing in your cyberbacker, because if you invest in your cyberbacker, then that means you're also investing in your business anyway, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, to go along with that, I actually would do calls too, and three-way call them in so that they could listen to how I would speak to our MLS board when there was an issue, or how I would talk to another agent if I needed to give them bad news. Things like that, where sure, you can have a script for it, but if you're reading a script for a call that needs to be a little delicate, it can come across as robotic or impersonal, and that's not what you want when you need to tell someone that maybe they're not going to make as much money as they thought they were going to.
Yes, totally agree with you. But that's a good suggestion there for all of our listeners, of course. The three-way call, just being there with your cyberbacker, just so that they know how you would handle that, so that if ever they're put in that situation, they can handle it just the way you did. Right? Something like that.
Absolutely. We do the same with our agents as well, because we do have a kind of a standard of how we operate. And so it's not that we need everyone to speak exactly like me or like our managing partner, but to know how we deliver certain messages and how we like to come across professionally. It's just kind of a standard across the board that we have a certain way that we like things done. And, observing it firsthand is the best way to get that across.
100% agree with you there, because again, they represent the business, not just themselves, of course. Now, just a follow-up question on the challenges part that we were talking about earlier. How do you coach someone who's virtual, just like your cyberbackers? For example, let's not call them mistakes, maybe a coaching opportunity, let's say. How do you coach someone who's virtual? Do you do it just like what we're doing now, video call, or through a phone call, an email, a text?
Yeah, so we utilize kind of a mix of all three. If there's a coaching opportunity that happens in an email or something on a document, I will personally send a message and say like, hey, this is how we like to have this done. Here's why. I'll put it very detailed. The email itself may not be that personal. It may just be the information that's needed. And then we'll do a call like this. That might be on the phone, that might be virtual like this. It really depends on where I'm at. If I'm on the road, a call is easier. If I'm at home at my office, and we'll jump on a call like this, because then I can do the screen shares and look face to face, and it can be a little bit more personal that way. But then we'll just kind of review it, review the email that I sent. I'll say, hey, I sent you this email. If you could pull it up so we can go through it. It's really just an opportunity to learn. And when it comes to things like that, where there's small little details, items, it's really that's the way that we need to do it. When they're bigger picture items, when it's, maybe noticing a trend in the way work is going, or maybe you notice that messages are coming through that aren't exactly how we had coached them to come through, and it's more of a trend, then that's really, it has to be a video call like this, where it's really just like a heart-to-heart conversation. What's going on? Is there something outside of work that's happening? How can we help you? Don't be afraid to share. We like to treat everyone the same on our team. We're all partners here. We work together. We operate like a family, and we invest our time to help people with their professional goals, but also their personal goals too. And I've found, and I've learned this from our managing partner, Jess, that there's almost always an underlying reason for any sort of error or, as you say, learning opportunity in the workplace. Usually it's outside, because for the most part, if people are happy with what they're doing and where they're doing it, there's no reason for that sort of thing to happen unless it is outside. So being able to have those conversations with people and be comfortable enough with that relationship to have them and have them being open and honest, because sure, you can say you want to have a personal conversation, but if you don't have that relationship, you're not going to get anywhere with it. It's just going to be surface level and nothing is going to come from it. But when you do have that relationship, you're really able to have that conversation and get to the bottom of something and really help our team members grow. So that's how we like to handle any sort of learning opportunity on our team.
I like what you mentioned there. One team, one family mindset, something like that. That kind of mindset, I think that really goes a long way, especially if you're in the office or not in the office, someone who's virtual, just like your cyberbackers. I think really that goes a long way. And again, one thing that you mentioned that I really like is just having those conversations with them and addressing the problems immediately once you have the time. And again, depending on what happened, what kind of opportunity there is. So it's really a partnership about, again, not just an employee, as what they mentioned, not an employee that you work for me, but again, it's a partnership between everyone in the business. Now, talking more about that partnership though, one last question. How do you define a successful virtual partnership? Now, can we define your partnership with your cyberbackers a successful one?
Absolutely. A very, very successful partnership that we have with our cyberbackers. We're very happy with everything that they bring to the team, everything that they do for us. They're always eager to do new things as well, which is how they sort of developed into their current roles now. And who's to say that they won't take on more in the future? You know, we don't like to limit people. Sky's the limit. But to me, a successful partnership depends on what you're looking for. And it depends on the cyberbackers themselves and what they're looking for. So we have a relationship with our cyberbackers where we have kind of an idea of what their end goal is, what they're looking to accomplish, in the same way that we do with our agents. Some of our agents want to be part-time, some want to be full-time, but not break their back working 100 hours a week. Some of our agents have very, very high, lofty goals that they do kind of need to put in that time. And, we're here for all of that. We want everyone to achieve what they're looking for to gain happiness. And that's kind of how we treat everyone. So to me, a successful partnership is mutually beneficial. You provide value to the team provides value to you. And everyone leaves the situation in a better place than they came in. And to me, that's what the successful partnership is really built on.
Gosh, I really like that, a mutual partnership again. Now, Stephen, thank you very much for dropping by today. I hope we can still have you probably the next few months again. Check back how everything is going with you and your cyberbackers. I really appreciate your time. You have a great day. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of Cyber CEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.